Hey there, science fans. Ever wonder why we put our food in the refrigerator? It's all about keeping things fresh and tasty. You see, tiny organisms like bacteria and mold are everywhere, and they love to munch on our food. These tiny critters can make our food spoil and even make us sick. That's where refrigerators come in. Refrigerators are like superheroes for our food, slowing down the growth of these pesky microorganisms. By keeping food cold, refrigerators create an environment where bacteria and mold can't grow as quickly. This means our food stays fresh and safe to eat for much longer. Isn't that cool? Before we dive into the science of refrigerators, let's talk about heat. Heat is a form of energy that makes things warm or hot. Temperature is how we measure how hot or cold something is. Think of it this way. Heat is like the fuel, and temperature is like the reading on a gauge. When something has a lot of heat energy, its temperature is high, and we say it's hot. When something has less heat energy, its temperature is low, and we say it's cold. Pretty simple, right? Now, heat is always on the move. It loves to travel from warmer objects to cooler objects. There are three main ways heat can travel: conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is like heat traveling through a handshake. When you touch a hot stove, heat travels from the stove to your hand. Convection is like heat traveling on a roller coaster. Think about a pot of boiling water. The hot water rises, cools down, and then sinks back down, creating a cycle. Radiation is like heat traveling on a sunbeam. The sun's warmth reaches us through radiation, even though there's no air in space. Now, let's crack open the fridge and see how it uses these principles to keep our food fresh. Refrigerators work by moving heat from the inside to the outside, making the inside cool and the outside a bit warmer. They do this using a special process called the refrigeration cycle. The refrigeration cycle has four main parts: the compressor, the condenser, the expansion valve, and the evaporator. Think of it like a relay race, with each part passing the baton to the next. The real stars of the refrigeration cycle are refrigerants. Refrigerants are special fluids that can easily change from a liquid to a gas and back again. They're like the runners in our relay race, carrying heat away from the inside of the fridge. Here's how it works. The compressor squeezes the refrigerant, making it hot and turning it into a gas. This hot gas then travels to the condenser, where it releases heat to the outside air and cools down, turning back into a liquid. This cool liquid then flows through the expansion valve, where it expands and becomes very cold. Now let's talk about freezers, the extra chilly cousins of refrigerators. Freezers work using the same refrigeration cycle as refrigerators, but they have a colder target temperature. Instead of just slowing down the growth of microorganisms, freezers aim to stop it in its tracks by freezing the water inside the food. When water freezes, it expands and forms ice crystals. These ice crystals can damage the cell walls of microorganisms, preventing them from growing and spoiling our food. That's why frozen food can last for months or even years. Refrigerators and freezers are essential appliances, but they also use energy to keep our food cold. That's why it's important to choose energy-efficient models that use less electricity and save us money on our energy bills. Look for appliances with the Energy Star label, which indicates they meet certain energy-saving standards. You can also do your part to save energy by keeping your fridge and freezer full, but not overstuffed. This helps to maintain a consistent temperature inside and reduces the amount of work the appliance has to do. Scientists and engineers are always working on new and innovative ways to keep our food fresh and reduce the environmental impact of refrigeration. Some exciting new technologies include magnetic refrigeration, which uses magnets instead of refrigerants, and thermoelectric cooling, which uses electricity to create a temperature difference. These technologies have the potential to be more energy efficient and environmentally friendly than traditional refrigeration systems, so the future of keeping our food cool is looking bright. Remember, science fans, we can all do our part to keep our food fresh and reduce food waste. Here are a few tips for efficient refrigeration. Check the seals. Make sure the doors of your fridge and freezer close tightly to prevent cold air from escaping. Don't overload. Avoid overcrowding your fridge and freezer, as this can restrict airflow and make the appliance work harder. Keep it organized. Store similar items together and use clear containers to easily find what you need, reducing the time the door is open. So, cool it down. Let hot food cool down to room temperature before putting it in the fridge to reduce the workload on the appliance. By following these tips and understanding the science behind refrigeration, we can all keep our food fresh, save energy, and reduce our impact on the environment. Stay curious and keep those refrigerators running.